Hello, I'm Tambra Eller, the Deputy District Engineer for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Sacramento District. This month, we're excited to celebrate Women's History Month, and today I have some special guests to celebrate women in history in the Sacramento District. How did you come to work for the Corps?
I came to the Corps of Engineers through a career fair. It was a government career fair at Sacramento State University. I was excited to graduate, next semester, and showed up, not quite as prepared as I am these days, but I met with 2 representatives, and the rest is history. It was a wonderful process coming in with the Corps of Engineers, Sacramento District, on the Department of Army rotation program. Started with the geotechnical branch soil design section. Amazing opportunity to rotate through engineering, operations, construction. Who 6 months out of college gets to be a quality assurance representative on a mega project, the Joint Federal Project, Folsom Dam Bridge. With that, I just got this spark in me to really experience everything the Corps has to offer between field work, office design work, OCONUS assignments, emergency response, and ultimately now to project management. It's been a wonderful experience, and I'm really happy I showed up at that career fair.
How have women shaped your career?
Being an engineer, you don't see a lot of women in this field, let alone in my university studies at Sacramento State, one of maybe half a dozen. So coming into this field, I knew what I was getting into, not seeing a lot of female representation. So for me, that meant being a representative for others to follow. And I really learn by seeing, looking at the women in leadership to learn how they walk the walk, how they talk the talk. Because everyone in that leadership position, who is a female or male, I like to shamelessly steal I'll say emulate their great qualities. And I've really learned by seeing those great leaders in action. I've been very blessed to see and listen in and be a fly on the wall in many rooms, many challenging, discussions from the beginning of my career with the Sacramento District. And I really looked at all of those leaders and took that upon myself to grow, to develop into a stronger leader myself.
What history have you made?
I think about family with that question. I'm the first in my father's side to graduate from college. I'm the first engineer in my family. I was followed by both of my younger brothers. So for me, as I mentioned before, not only as a female, as the oldest in my family, setting that great example for those that are going to follow. It's very touching to see my 2 younger brothers follow in my footsteps, I like to say, though they'll tell you otherwise. And just being able to, with one generation, change the history of your family. Just setting that great example, getting a good education, all thanks to my parents who worked very hard to give us the best. So I do recognize the privilege I have, and I want to make the best of my career, of my personal life, and give back to my family, my friends, to my peers here. So that's a whole lot of history and a whole lot of weight I carry, to be honest, but I enjoy it, and as long as I keep enjoying it, I'm here.
What history have you made?
The most memorable project that I worked on is the Vic Fazio Yola Wildlife Area project. It provided 3,700 acres of wetland restoration in the Yola Bypass area. That project was named after Congressman Vic Fazio, as we know, who recently passed. That project was also dedicated by former President Bill Clinton back in 1997. I was fortunate to be part of that PDT.
How did you come to work for the Corps?
How I came to work for the Corps of Engineers is through my sister, who was currently working in real estate. She brought home a job announcement. I applied and I was hired. I have made the Corps my career. Developmental assignments, lots of training, and the Corps had a lot of opportunity for growth.
How have women shaped your career?
A lot of women have shaped my career in different phases of my life. I grew up in Nepal. My mom did not attend the college and also did not have a professional career. It was because she had kids. However, she supported me to go to the engineering school in Nepal and then to Belgium to get my master's. Most of my friends from high school were married by the time I graduated from my college. So I was lucky to get the mom that I had. And she inspired me to become who I am. My PhD advisor was a woman. And I observed how she delicately balanced her life as a career professor and also a mother of 2 5-year-old twins. She was also the advisor for the women in civil engineering who encouraged women students like me to stand strong and focus on our career. And later in my life, I am surrounded by so many incredible women at the core as peers, mentors, leaders, and the role models who helped, understood, and supported me along my professional journey. Seeing women in leadership positions at the core reinforces my belief that women can break every glass ceiling.
What does Women's History Month mean to you?
To me, Women's History means reminding the strength that women have gained through generations of struggle and celebrating women's contribution and accomplishment to the society. It is also an opportunity to discuss and promote further strength to empower women. The society we live in has a bias and doubts of women's ability to take care of the children and professional responsibilities concurrently. However, through the proper choices and the decisions, women have demonstrated that they can balance personal and professional responsibilities nicely. Today, more women are joining professional workforce, filling executive boardrooms, and creating history.
What history have you made?
I am the first civil engineer in my family and the first woman to have a professional career too. Although some of my aunts had college degrees, all of them were limited to being the homemakers only and did not have a professional career. I am also the first woman in my family to study abroad. I studied in Belgium for 2 years and obtained a master's degree in water resources engineering. I am a role model for my sisters and my cousins. In 1999, when I attended the civil engineering program in Nepal, I was one of the 2 women in a cohort of 48 students. I faced skepticism from some of my classmates and even teachers that I would be limited to a homemaker only and would not have a professional career. When I started my first job for a non-profit in rural Nepal, I was the only woman in a team of men. It was a challenge to work in a society where most engineers were predominantly men. It was difficult for my colleagues to accept directions from me, a young female engineer. I have faced similar challenges working in the US as well, but in a much subdued form. Still today, there are times when I need to do more to earn acceptance compared to my male counterpart.
How did you come to work for the Corps?
So 2005, in my last semester of almost graduating from University of Illinois in Chicago, I attended a job fair, and not knowing anything about U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, I was recruited by someone who became my boss later on, and he explained to me all the great things that the Corps of Engineers does in this country and all over the world, and I felt that this is the organization that I want to be part of, and this is the organization that I would like to work for. I feel so lucky attending that job fair, and I feel so incredibly inspired by all the women and men that I've worked with in the Corps of Engineers, and I had the opportunity to learn from.
How have women shaped your career?
So, to that question, the first thing that comes to mind is my mother. My mother was a civil engineer, and I have to admit that growing up, I really did not like her job because it was taking her away from playtime with me and sharing experiences with her. She would always be drafting at home, and this, like, I don't know if you remember those desks, the wooden desks, that would be permanent at home, so she was constantly working. But, I was exposed to civil engineering from very young age, and when it came down to like choosing my career, it was a no-brainer. It was civil engineering, so I have to give it to my mother inspiring me to join the civil engineering force.
What does Women's History Month mean to you?
Time to reflect on the strength and the accomplishments of all the women all over the world and how long we have come, that long way that we have come to become equal partners in this world. And it's time to inspire the younger generation to come along in our footsteps.
Can you share with us about a woman who has inspired you?
Madame Curie, she's the first woman to get a Nobel Prize and the first person to get Nobel Prize in two fields, physics and chemistry. Mother Teresa is another woman that has inspired me, and growing up in Eastern Europe, I could not admire the strength and courage of Margaret Thatcher, who was the first Prime Minister and did a lot of history, which is still remembered.
What history have you made?
So, on personal note, I think of my nieces. I have twin nieces that are really inspired by my career, and they want to be engineers. And professional aspect, the Corps of Engineers has given me this opportunity to be part of significant contribution to the nation. I was part of the team that delivered the Hurricane Protection Office mission in 2008 through 2015. And also I am really proud of leading the program in Saudi Arabia and building our ally nation, and that program is still ongoing and delivering great results for the host nation of Saudi Arabia.